With a massive form too big to breed, they sold her for meat, until one human bought and claimed. The dusty marketplace sprawled across the arid plain, a grim bazaar where creatures were traded like commodities. Stalls creaked under the weight of exotic beasts and prisoners alike, each marked with the faded symbols of their origins and destinies. Among the many captive creatures, one stood apart, or rather towered above. Her name was Lira, and she was massive. Her skin shimmered faintly in the harsh sunlight, a mottled tapestry of thick, scaled armor and patches of soft fur. Her form was vast, too vast for the breeding programs that once deemed her a prized asset. But now, deemed unfit, she had been marked for slaughter, her colossal frame destined to become meat on a platter. Her kind was rare, a species once treasured for their strength and resilience, but Lyra's size made her impractical. Her deep, amber eyes reflected a soul that had long ceased to hope for freedom. But fate, as always, had other plans. Scene 1, the auction. The crowd gathered, restless and hungry for the day's spectacle. The auctioneer's voice echoed, sharp and merciless. Massive female, no longer fit for breeding, sold for meat. A prize of rare flesh, tender and rich. Lira was led onto the platform by chains shackled around her enormous limbs. Despite her size, she moved with a slow, mournful grace, her eyes scanning the crowd. Many looked away. Disgust, pity, or hunger. The bids began low, then climbed steadily. Voices shouted numbers, each hoping to secure the prize for their own twisted desires. Then, from the back of the crowd, a figure stepped forward, a human. He was lean, dressed in simple clothes, and wore a calm expression that stood in stark contrast to the chaos around him. "I'll take her," he said quietly. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Humans rarely involved themselves in such trades, and when they did, it was rarely for anything but profit. The auctioneer narrowed his eyes. "You. For the meat market. You must pay double." The human nodded without hesitation and threw the required credits onto the platform. The gavel slammed. Lira was his. Scene 2, the human's claim. The human's name was Corin, a trader with a reputation for purchasing unusual beings. But unlike others, Corin had never intended to sell or kill. As the chains were removed, Lyra's massive form flexed, muscles rippling beneath her skin. Her breaths came heavy, mixed with a faint growl of pain and fear. Corin approached slowly, raising his hand to show he meant no harm. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said softly. "You're safe now." Lyra's eyes searched him, suspicious. She had been betrayed too many times to trust easily. Corin didn't try to touch her. Instead, he turned and began leading her away from the marketplace, toward a shaded area on the outskirts where a massive transport hovered, large enough to hold her comfortably. As they traveled, Corin spoke gently. "You don't have to be afraid. I'm going to take care of you." Scene 3, the sanctuary. Corin's ship was unlike any Lira had seen before, vast, warm, and filled with strange scents. It was not a prison but a sanctuary. He led her to a large chamber, soft and wide enough for her to lie down without discomfort. The walls pulsed with life-sustaining technology, providing warmth and healing. Days passed as Corin cared for Lira, tending to her wounds and feeding her carefully. She began to relax, her massive body shedding tension. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Corin sat beside her. "I've seen many creatures like you," he said quietly. "Strong, proud, misunderstood. But you're special." Lyra's eyes glimmered with something new. Hope. Scene 4. Memories of pain. As trust grew, Lira allowed herself to share her story. She had once been part of a grand colony, bred for strength and survival. But her size, while a blessing in battle, was a curse in captivity. Too large to breed, too large to control, she was discarded. Her people had sold her for meat, her fate sealed without her consent. Corin listened intently, his heart heavy. "You deserve better," he said firmly. "And I intend to give it to you." Scene 5, The Bond. Weeks turned into months, and the bond between human and giant grew unbreakable. Corin taught Lira to trust again, to find peace in the company of others. She, in turn, protected him with ferocity and loyalty. Together, they explored distant planets and forgotten worlds, away from the cruelty of the markets and the chains of past owners. Lira's massive form became a symbol, not of slaughter but of strength and freedom. Scene 6. The threat returns. One day, news came that the traders who had sold Lira were tracking them, intent on reclaiming her as property or worse. Corin prepared for the confrontation. "They don't see you as a being," he said grimly. "Only as a commodity." Lira stood tall, muscles coiled like springs. "Let them come." Scene 7. The Battle for Freedom. The traders attacked under cover of darkness, sending drones and mercenaries aboard Corin's ship. But Lira was ready. Her massive claws shredded metal, her roar shattered glass and steel. Corin fought alongside her, their bond a force stronger than any weapon. In the chaos, Lira crushed the last of the invaders, standing victorious but weary. Scene 8. A New Beginning. With the threat gone, Corin and Lira set course for a new home, a hidden sanctuary where no one would see her as meat or a tool. Under the light of distant stars, Lira lay beside Corin, her massive form relaxed for the first time in years. "Thank you," she whispered. Corin smiled. "You're not mine to own. You're free. But I'm proud to call you friend." And so, in a universe that had once cast her aside, Lira found something greater than survival. She found belonging. End.